Hey, everybody.
Welcome back to the Bros, Brews, and the Basement Podcast.
Episode
number 4. Quattro. That's the Quattro. That's the 4.
There it is.
And who is this holding this beer for us in the center, you might ask?
Oh, it's me.
It's DDP.
Psych! It is not that famous wrestling yoga instructor.
DDP Yoga.
No.
Not sponsored.
Who are you, ma'am?
Ma'am.
Wow.
I'm Kim.
Apparently you're 60, too.
I'm 103. I'm Kim. You may have seen me on the Basement Universe channel reacting to music with Steve and Cory and also Dylan. But I am actually part of my own podcast called BeauTeaTime with my friend Riss, who you also may have seen on the Basement Universe channel.
Absolutely.
We are a very different podcast than them. We do hairstylists and beauty content, but we're really funny. So, if you like any of that stuff, check us out.
It's a good listen.
Our podcast is called BeauTeaTime, and it's BeauTea time. And we're available on all platforms. So
Just like us.
just
like the Bros, the Brews, and the Basement. All the links will be in the description for you guys to check out.
Yeah, so if you start watching this and need to go to work and want to continue listening, you can listen to them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
Amazon Music.
So they're not just video podcasts.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can listen to it on the go.
Put them in your pocket and take them with
Yes.
you.
I mean, I'm already a pocket-sized person, so that's just perfect.
Yeah, if you have a long commute, what's better than sitting in traffic and listening to our podcast?
Yeah. I mean, you might be sick of music. I can't tell you how many times I've done that where I'm just like, I'm fed up with everything I've been listening to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Time to listen to Joe Rogan or whoever, for that matter,
Yeah.
Whoever.
Learn a little bit.
Learn
So-
a little bit.
Yeah, learn a little
Learn
bit.
a little bit, play a little bit.
We'll start with our beer of the week. From Stone Brewing. Stone Brewing from California. I just looked it up. I think they started in Escondido, San Diego County.
I've never heard of this beer before.
So they don't seem to be too creative with their names, considering it's IPA, Citrus IPA, and Double IPA. But it's a variety pack. Me and Kim actually went to Stone Brewing.
Yep.
Yes, that is very to the point as far as their names go. Me and Kim went to Stone Brewing, I believe still in San Diego,
Yes,
right?
we were
the
in San
garden,
Diego.
the garden,
I have to be closer.
the garden brewing or whatever, something like that.
The
Garden Brew.
The GB.
It's a very big brewery where you can go and you can eat and drink and stuff. But I
That's
had
cool.
probably the worst rosé I've ever had in my entire life there. It was so disgusting.
Very bad.
I don't know
Okay.
who
No
made
rosé,
it,
got
but
it.
don't have rosé there. Have
The
maybe a
rosé
beer.
was not good. They had really good beers. I also like that there. It's one of those places where you scan the QR code and you put the order in on your phone,
Yeah, that was-
and then they just bring the beer to your
and
table.
you pay on it.
Yeah,
stuff.
and you
That's
pay
cool.
on your phone too. But they had a small pond and little river with fish in it, and there's
Yeah.
trees everywhere, and it's San
Sounds nice.
Diego, really cool.
Yeah.
Cool temperature
Listen,
and cool
go to San Diego.
vibes.
If
Yes.
there's anywhere you want to go in California, go to San Diego. Perfect weather all year.
We've been there
Interesting.
a handful of times.
My
Would
favorite
suggest.
place on earth.
Well, that's cool. So
So-
let's crack open this beer.
So the first one we're gonna have, thank you.
Should I distribute?
You can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just don't give me the
Stone.
double.
Oh, this is
Double?
Stone Delicious IPA.
Yeah, Stone Delicious. And so this is, okay, the other one is citrus, right? I believe?
Yeah, that's the.
Don't worry, I'll zoom in on it, Kim. You don't have to go
Yeah.
crazy. There's editing for that.
Yeah, Stone Delicious. Last episode, me and Cory saw. Yeah, nice. Symmetry.
Yeah, what was I'm sorry, the last one was what? The Voodoo Ranger, right?
But that was that the episode where we had seen the TikTok where the guy...
with the beer pouring?
Yeah. We tried doing that. It was a failure.
I thought it worked.
It poured, but, we got like this much
It was
of
rough,
foam.
so I'm not going to... Especially with, like, the mic and everything in the way, I'm just like, I feel like you need room. Also, I'm going to try not to say like 1,000 times like I did in the last video.
It's okay.
It's not. I critique myself. I'm holding myself
Well,
accountable.
that means you're a good content creator.
We have standards.
I was telling a story, and I was cringing at how many times I was like, and it's like, and then like, me and him, and we were just like, oh my God, like.
It's fine.
That is like crazy.
Until you listen to yourself, you don't know how you tell a story. So there's plenty of times where I listen back a podcast and I'm going, or
That's just like a tick of being a personality on, like when you're recording.
Like the
I feel
dead
like that's
air.
nerves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's interesting is at work, I'm on the phones, so I listen to my calls back all the time. And when I first started working there, what's that?
Are you getting notes of anything?
Notes of persimmon. That's a symphony.
When I first started working there and I listened to my calls back, there were calls that I took where it's like I sound like I'm sleeping. Because I'd be like, yeah. And then when we started doing this podcast, I kind of reverted back to where I'd be like, hey,
Eeyore.
Yeah.
Eeyore's here.
That's a great opinion, Cory.
Honestly, a humbling experience when you listen to yourself, because you always think like a recording of yourself isn't what you sound like, but you actually don't know what you sound like.
It's true.
Yeah,
and I've listened to myself hours and hours now because I edit the podcast, and it takes me an entire day. And I'm like, wow, I never noticed how big of a New York accent I have, and I never thought I had one. But I listen to myself, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I never feel like I have one.
Oh, you have one.
But then
your parents are Brooklyn people.
I know. Yeah. But but when I go somewhere that's not New York,
they know.
Someone always says something to me right away, and I'm always like, yes.
Well, there was one time.
That's where I'm from. That's why I don't wear Yankee hats when I travel anymore.
But my brother used to live in California. He lived in San Francisco, and I remember visiting him and meeting his boss and going, she goes, oh, you're from New York with your coffee and you're talking. And I was like, fuck off, lady.
Yeah.
Until I listened to my own podcast, and I was like, oh.
You get it now.
Still, it's even if you sound like that, that's very annoying. When people say that to you, I fucking hate that.
It is. I'm like, fuck off.
However,
like
though,
insult, right?
when I'm traveling and I run into someone who's from New York,
you can tell immediately.
They'll be like, "Oh, one of my people. It's so nice to see you."
But
there's a connection there immediately.
You ready to taste test this?
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Let's taste test this, and then we'll reveal. Cheers.
Cheers.
Kimberly, cheers.
Cheers. I don't have one. I have.
We're gonna talk about hers in a moment.
I have a loyal lemonade. So?
Not bad.
It's good.
What are you getting from first sip?
I mean, it definitely tastes like an IPA, that's for sure.
A little bit of bitterness like you would expect.
It definitely has that initial punch of an IPA, right?
Not a whole lot of taste. Like, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think I've had like a really diverse enough like IPA selection.
That's the thing
to really say. But I mean,
know.
It definitely has like that punch that an IPA has after you initially ingest it, right?
It is good.
It doesn't have like a bad aftertaste or anything like that. It's pretty much exactly what I would expect, you know.
Yeah.
Mind you, it's called Delicious.
It is.
So,
it is good.
It is delicious. I mean, I'll see how I feel, continually drinking this. I am curious what the citrus will taste like, though, considering we just had.
Liked that
I really
a lot.
liked the Voodoo Ranger one a lot.
That was, yeah.
So
I mean, before we hit record, we were talking about how dangerous the loyal lemonades are. The citrus is also, that could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good. Off of one sip, I think I would have it more than once. I'm just trying
we'll
to.
check again at the
No,
end.
it's vegan.
Kim,
Yeah,
what
but
are
that's
you
a
drinking
buzzword.
over here, just so we can give
Okay.
get everybody.
So this is a Loyal Lemonade. It is 9% alcohol. This is my second one. And
On fire.
listen, I'm not a big
Oh,
drinker. I don't really like alcohol. I don't like the taste of it. And there's plenty of times where people have been like, "Oh, try this. It tastes nothing like alcohol. You wouldn't even know." And I taste it and I'm like, "I fucking taste the alcohol." Like, you're not fooling anyone. So I don't know why people always think that nothing, like they say that, but then this actually just tastes like watermelon. And it's dangerous.
They're
That's
very
why I
good.
only brought 2, because if I
That's your
drank
limit.
a third one, I'd probably be throwing up all over this table.
Please, God, no.
No, so I mean they come
For everyone's sake,
They come in
including
a-
yours.
they come in a 4-pack. They really don't
Four-plack.
4-pack. They don't taste like alcohol at all. And if you like just a refreshing drink and you want to be a little bit happy and have like 1 or 2 and like giggle and then stop and drink some water and take a break, then this is for you. I don't know if they have them. I was gonna say worldwide. I don't know if they have them nationwide, but Loyal
Well, we
Lemonade.
know they're in New York and we know they're in Florida.
Yeah, and they also have different flavors. They have regular lemonade and berry. And was that the and
There's
watermelon.
one more. There's one more, and I can't remember it.
Is it
Fruit punch.
Is it iced tea
Strawberry.
and lemonade too? I think that is.
Iced tea?
Yeah,
Okay.
it might be.
So these are good if you don't like the taste of alcohol, and if you have ever had vodka and lemonade, that's like really
Yeah.
masks the taste. It's like that.
So let's
$12 for 4 at the liquor store over here.
Yeah.
in New York.
Yeah.
In New York with my
Um,
coffee and my talking.
Yeah,
or
my
or
coffee
I
and my
think they're
talking.
$12.99. In Florida, they were $2
The
cheaper.
drink bartender. So Kim, what would you rate that then? Since we're gonna do the rating now. Obviously, we
Okay.
have diverse beer selection here, so we'll kind of we'll just sprinkle
We'll
in
have
the
to
other
rate
ones as
the
we go.
citrus later.
Yeah, but the
Okay.
regular one. We'll do Kim
maybe
first.
split the
So
double.
judging
Ladies
that
first.
I don't drink a lot, and I usually will drink a cider and not a beer, and I hate vodka, and any
does.
hard liquor. This is for me like a 9 out of 10, because a 10 out of 10 has to be perfect. I mean, maybe I hate when
Perfection
people
is
do
hard.
like 9.5. I hate when people are like, it's a 9.5 out of 10. Like this,
So us.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what we do.
I mean, it's pretty good.
Shots fired
I mean, I would,
on our own platform.
I would continue. I would continuously buy this because it really does not taste like alcohol. So
Okay.
if you're like me and just need a couple to be a little happy, I rate this a 9 out of 10.
Cool.
It is usually a purchase when we're at the liquor store. We usually get a 4-pack.
Nice.
A 4-pack will usually last her like 3 weeks or something. 'cause
Hey, but I
like
mean
she
that's
said,
fine,
not,
right?
Not a frequent drinker.
No.
That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. That's
So-
a solid. That's a solid rating. It's
Yeah.
pretty high up.
I would honestly agree with it. I don't think you're overrating it at all.
No, I'm not being
That's
It's the highest
dramatic.
score
very-
we've
it's-
had so far.
it's
on
a
this show,
very
on this
good
podcast.
Yeah, it's a very good drink.
Okay.
100%.
So
Fair.
what do you guys think about your beer
I'm
after
gonna- I'm
having
gonna
a couple
take-
sips?
I'm gonna take another sip.
I'll join you.
Swish it around.
Another drink for the working man. Stone Cold Steve Austin here.
Beer, vodka, whiskey,
More beer.
more beer,
More vodka.
more whiskey.
So I'm gonna go first, if you don't mind.
That's what I was gonna say after my.
You were like, yeah, you go first.
yeah.
So what? I'm trying to remember. What did I give the other one? A 7.5. I think.
I
Or 7?
wanna say yes. We should probably
We should probably
start
check
writing
that out,
these
right?
down.
Yeah, we should write these down. We should have like an official board that just like in the background or something, or maybe here on the computer so we can
like
see it.
here?
Yeah, I mean, I could always put it up in editing, but that doesn't help when we're
it right
looking
here.
right now. Yeah,
Over my face.
no, it won't be over your face. So I think the last one was like a 7 or a 7.5 because it
think
was definitely
so.
better than Barn Rocker.
Right.
Man, I want to say that this one is probably like, again, a 6 for me.
Okay.
It's like
Okay.
it doesn't necessarily, hit me as like something where I'm just like, oh man, that's like, something different, and like it's fine. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's kind of like, I don't know if I would necessarily go out of my way to get it, but like, I would choose it over probably a bunch of other different beers
So nothing
if I had the choice.
stands out.
Yeah,
It's like
I mean,
your
we'll,
standard.
Well, yeah, we'll see how the citrus is, but it just as far as like a regular IPA goes, like it's your standard. It's good. There's nothing wrong with it. The taste is fine.
Yeah, I agree. It is your standard IPA. It's good. It's a good IPA. Yeah. I was gonna say, I think I'm just gonna agree with you on that 6.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
just fine.
Because
Yeah, it's just fine.
the one thing we talked about was if we're gonna give something like a 9,
we
right?
can't have 29.
Right. Right. So it's kind of hard, but I think a 6 is fine. It's fine. Like you said, you wouldn't catch me being like, I gotta go to the brewery to get this beer,
Specifically,
or
right?
I
Like,
gotta go to the beer distributor to get this. However, if it's available, I would drink it.
Yeah.
But, standard IPA. I'm with you. I'm interested in the citrus, and I also would like to, maybe we could split one of the doubles, because
Yeah, if
the
not,
doubles
we
are
could always-
9.5%, and I have to drive home after this, so
Yeah, maybe we'll we could always give that in the next one too if we have it after. We could be like, oh yeah, and that
yeah,
next
just
episode
because I wonder if the double is just going to be hoppier
probably.
version of this.
But
So
we'll
I'm intrigued.
but we'll see.
Mm. I think all beer tastes the same personally, but I know to you guys it doesn't.
I would disagree
I know.
with the phrase that you just said.
I know.
I'm
But,
sure there's
yeah.
plenty of people out there that would
I'm
disagree as
sure.
well, and they will let us know
Love
in that
to
comment
disagree
section.
with me.
So yeah, I think we're in agreement on the 6s.
Yeah.
Kim with the blistering 9 out of 10 for the
Woo!
The
watermelon loyal lemonade.
Yep.
Nice.
I'm in agreement with that rating as well.
Yeah, I mean, let us know, though, if you've had this beer or the Loyal Lemonade before, what you think. What's your rating? We'd love to hear, your opinions on it.
And if you guys have a recommendation between my type of drink and their type of drink,
Yeah.
let us know in the comments down below.
We're always looking to try new beer or, whatever for that matter.
But make sure you subscribe so you can see if they tried any of the beers you suggested.
Because otherwise,
Absolutely.
you'll never know. And you especially won't know unless you hit that what?
The Noti Bell?
Yep.
And also subscribe to the podcast on all the audio platforms
Yep.
so you never miss an upload.
Exactly.
That's true.
And now that we've pretty much got a 20-minute introduction out of the way,
And here I was thinking we're going to have a 30-minute episode.
Yeah, right.
that's just what happens,
What are we doing tomorrow night?
I had almost forgotten, but we're going to see Insidious 5.
I can't believe there's been 5.
Yeah, and I'm like,
And I can't believe I
five?
almost forgot. Right?
Yeah,
So
I
much
mean,
for pre-production.
Yeah, right. So yeah, Insidious 5. I mean, who would have thought 10 years after, the second film, right? Or actually, I don't know if it
would-
was from the second film or from the first film, but nonetheless, 10 years later, we're getting another Insidious film that seemingly came out of nowhere.
And it's really cool that it's the whole first cast, like the original cast, right?
Yeah, like literally everybody from the first two films is back.
Patrick
Yeah.
Wilson.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson. I'm
Rose
Ty
Byrne.
Simpkins, who is Dalton, the
That's
main
Dalton.
son.
Mhm.
I I'm forgetting the
After
names of the
watching the
characters.
trailer, I feel like
You
I've
have
seen him in other
No.
Yeah,
stuff.
you have Rose Byrne, who is the mom, obviously.
Oh yeah, okay.
Then you have the other brother whose name I can't remember offhand.
It's probably like Jeff or something.
He was irrelevant.
My name is
probably.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
he
mean,
wasn't
kind of is
wasn't a
irrelevant.
relevant factor in the first two.
Well, he wasn't astral projecting and getting
No, he
caught
basically
in
just
further.
adds in on the fact, like for what was it, the second film when Dalton and him do the tin can string communicator.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, from bed to bed.
Yeah, from bed to bed, and then he's like he thinks he's talking to his brother, and of course he's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we are gonna go see that tomorrow. But we did kind of want to talk a little bit about the first two, maybe some like standout moments for us, maybe just an overall recap going into it, and talk about some of our predictions about what we think might happen in Insidious 5.
So before we get into the first two, we just watched the trailer.
Right.
This does seem like it's gonna be scarier than the first two. Or like there's going to be more things, like more jump
scares,
moments
probably.
and stuff like that. Because I feel like in the first, at least the first one, I'm trying to remember them all. It's a lot of, you have, what's her name? Elise. And it's a lot of Elise moments where you're like, all right, what's going to happen here?
Yeah, because
What's gonna
obviously
happen? What's
something.
going to happen? There seems to be a lot of interactions with the demons in this new one coming out, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, looks like we're getting the lipstick demon, aka the demon from the first film, coming back with probably, you can only assume, new ones coming as well.
Yeah.
But that the original one is just so iconic. That guy's so iconic.
Yeah.
So many jump scares. I mean, there was a decent amount of jump scares, I would say, through like the first two, but probably not as many.
Yeah.
And I don't really, I've talked about this like, so many times in videos and just in general with you guys, but I don't really love watching trailers too much nowadays because I feel like, trailers always ruin some of the scary parts or
the
like
best
the best
parts are in
of,
the trailer.
Yeah, of stuff. But yeah, so like, I feel like there will be more just based on what I've seen from the trailer, but maybe I won't get as scared because I've seen, some things that might happen.
It seems like we're also getting, the children, the actors who play the children now are a lot older.
Yeah, this is real time.
So
Yeah.
I think the addition of adult children are going to really add to the movie. Whereas in the first one, Dalton the whole time is possessed or whatever. The other kid, we don't even know his name.
Forget his name.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
And you're basically going through whatever's
I think I still have
happening.
it pulled up. I have it here.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Oh, Foster.
Yeah.
So that's his name,
Foster?
a.k.a. Andrew Astor.
I would have never asked her.
Yeah, I knew. Oh, man, I'm so glad you said that because I was thinking it.
Asked her and Cody.
So, the first couple, the kids are so young, you're kind of just going through it with the parents, whereas now, you have adult children. I think it's really going to add to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean
pumped.
the first one seemed to mostly be. And honestly, both of the first two films are predominantly focused on the father-son relationship between Josh, aka Patrick Wilson, and Dalton, Ty Simpkins, because both of them are being haunted by these demons, and the demons are attached to them. They can both astral project.
Yes.
Right.
And
Is it the first one that we find out that Patrick Wilson's character did that when he was a kid?
I believe
I think
so.
so.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, they call it the Further, the realm which all these demons and spirits and everything all reside.
Yeah.
And in the first film, that's where his son gets taken and then becomes, he's in a coma. And
I
the
just
point of-
remember the one demon that's like, he has your baby. He has your baby.
So-
Oh,
he
it's like
has
the
your
old
baby.
guy, right? Yeah.
Can I just have a side note really quick about
Sure,
this?
absolutely. Go ahead.
So there
Welcome
was
to Kim's Corner.
We'll get to that
No.
later.
So there was a trend going on on TikTok where they were saying if you're dreaming and you realize you're dreaming, to ask whoever is in your dream what time it is.
Oh, right.
And that everybody that said they have done this, that like whoever they were talking to in their dream like freaked out or morphed into this monster, and they were like, all these people were commenting like, you're not supposed to be there, they're not supposed to know, you're not one of them, blah blah blah. And I always think of Insidious. I thought of Insidious with that, because it was like, it's like astral projecting between like awake and asleep, is like that second, like, you know, realm of stuff where it's like you're alive but you're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I always thought of Insidious and The Further when that trend was going on, and I was so scared that I was gonna accidentally do it in my sleep that I was gonna ask what time it was. But I always thought of that because I feel like, I mean, I'm the type of person that like I can believe in things to a certain point because of how, you know, there's certain things in life that just are unexplained, but
absolutely, there's always going to be.
Yeah, like something like that. I'm like, that just reminded me of the Further.
Yeah, it's almost it's like a lucid dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I've definitely lucid dreamed before.
What about you, Cory?
Have you?
I don't think I've ever lucid dreamed.
No.
To be honest, yeah, I've had some like vivid nightmares and stuff like that, but I don't think I've ever had control over what was going on.
I definitely have.
I feel like I remember one time when I was like really young getting like shot in the head in my dream and just be bouncing back up and being like, why did you do that?
Oh my God.
You know, and just like, not like your tradition, you know, not like your traditional like waking up in like a cold sweat, like, I was just like, why'd you do that, bro? Why would you
I
do
lucid dream probably once a month.
Yeah, I definitely lucid dream where I'm like, I say to myself in my head, like, oh, I have to tell so-and-so when I wake up.
It kind of makes you wonder if that was partly an inspiration for the film, you know, like the idea behind it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, like we were kind of saying, the first one is, you know, the son goes in a coma, trapped by the demon, and the whole point of it is, you know, they get all these medical tests, originally thinking like, oh, there's something wrong with him, and then eventually,
shockingly, they find nothing.
Yeah, Rose Byrne says like, let's try something more like spiritual and like outside the medical realm, and that's when Elise comes in and ends up like helping them,
and
you know, figure some things out.
Doesn't Elise know who Patrick Wilson? Can we?
Well, because
what is Patrick Wilson's character's name?
His name is Josh.
So doesn't Elise know who Josh is?
Yeah,
but Josh doesn't remember.
Yeah,
well, because they connected.
Josh doesn't remember her.
They connected in a later movie.
Yeah, I think they connected that in 2.
Like they have,
right.
They have like they connect a few dots.
And they discover that this demon that got Dalton was really going for him the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically just trying to force his hand to remember all of these things that happened to him, because he basically was forced to forget that this ever happened to him as a child, which you obviously don't find out until, you know, later on in the series. But
delicious.
What an iconic not first scene, but there was a lot of great jump scares. Well, in the first one, specifically with that lipstick demon.
Yeah.
Probably like the most notorious one is like when his mom is talking at the table, and then like the camera quickly like almost like pans back after she's like shocked. And then you just quickly see the camera pan back to Patrick Wilson's character, and the demon is just standing like halfway behind him, where you can only see like half of his face. And they always play like that sharp like orchestral note or whatever it is to like you know, because I feel like that is what almost really gets you to jump.
Oh yeah,
you know,
well,
even
people
more so
always say if you watch horror movies
with no music or anything, right? It's a totally different experience.
You would be like, hey.
Like,
there's a guy behind
you.
you.
They're not so scary when you watch them in your own living room and not surround sound, you know?
That's true, yeah. I mean, seeing it in a movie theater is definitely a different experience, which we'll definitely touch on that, right?
Well, I would be curious to see how the franchise evolves, because
nailed it.
because 10 years ago it was like, they make movies differently now. They have different effects now. They have like a different format sometimes. Like as like the years evolve, like you get like
absolutely.
the crawling people. Or,
oh my God, yeah.
there's always a crawling woman.
There's always
with,
like creepy
gross
children.
eyes.
Yeah.
What
Creepy
is
children in the corner.
what is the movie where Catherine Hahn sends her children to stay with what she believes are her parents? And that
The Visit.
fucking
Yes.
The Visit, and the
Yes.
fucking woman who's pretending to be the grandmother,
Yep.
like
I like The Visit.
race
personally.
crawls at
They
them
always
underneath
do.
the
House.
fucking deck.
One of the
They do.
creepiest.
Why is there goddamn
Yeah.
crawling?
That
Because
was
it's
creepy.
creepy.
It's
What
creepy.
is what was that other fucking movie? The one that just came out a couple months ago where the woman gets possessed.
Oh, is it Evil Dead? Was it Evil Dead? Was there a lot of crawling in
And
that
she
movie?
literally is
Sort. I
like
mean, I don't know about
crawling
crawling,
on the
but-
wall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Evil Dead.
Right. And
Evil Dead Rise,
what's crazy is
specifically. Yeah.
Another great
that
horror film.
actress, I know her from Vikings.
Yeah, I was gonna say I looked her up, and that was the only thing that
I know her.
And I've never seen Vikings, but like obviously I knew what it was.
Would recommend for anyone who hasn't seen it. But in the trailer, every time the crawling part came on, I'd be like, "The fuck."
Yeah, you're like
Shut
I don't.
this shit off.
Because it's creepy.
You're like I don't need that.
So of course in the trailer he's in the CAT scan and a fucking demon crawls at him in the CAT scan.
Yeah, you that's just like textbook like 101
Yep,
like creepy
because-
horror
Yeah. because-
moments, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Most people are scared of fucking CAT scans anyway.
Yeah,
in a
so why
metal
not
tube,
just- why
so
not just
why
have-
not
throw a-
just play on everyone's fear?
yeah, double fear right there.
Double fear.
But yeah, and I mean, kind of going back to, I was kind of just basically like summarizing the
Mm-hmm.
first film, second film, and all that. And when you first, well, not when you first meet the demon, but one of the most iconic scenes is when Josh, Patrick Wilson's character, goes into the further for
Mm-hmm.
like one of the first times and gets to the demon's lair.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you see what he's doing. Right, and he has like he's been taking all these children.
Oh, right.
And stuff like that, and keeping
Yes.
them, killing them, keeping them hostage, and stuff like that.
Yes.
And he's like sharpening his claws and shit like that in this upstairs room, and there's this really like insane old like yodeling fucking weird music that you probably would hear from I don't know like the 40s. I don't know.
Yeah.
That to me stands out
Yeah.
as like the moment probably of the first film, other than the very end, because the very end I don't think anybody saw coming.
Yeah.
Right, like.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're talking about spoilers in this, so like I'll just say it. But after he gets Dalton back at the end of the film,
Yeah.
you find out a few moments after that Patrick Wilson, aka Josh, is not really Patrick Wilson,
Yeah.
aka Josh,
Right.
and then he ends up strangling Elise because she takes a picture of him, and throughout the film you figure out that through pictures you always see the demons for what they are.
Right.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, those moments for me, at least for the first film, were standouts.
Well, I
So
would.
he kills her in the first film?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and that was such a shocker because you would think like, oh, this is like definitely an iconic character that's probably gonna be around, like very important, and then,
well, she
dead.
is. She definitely is in the other movies,
She
and they
is.
connect the dots that way. But I'm very curious to see the direction they take it because I don't remember exactly. I mean, it's been 10 years and we were watching
Yeah.
it the other day, but I'll be curious to see what direction they take it in, especially with Dalton. Like, has he been having all these experiences a long time and it just got too big for him to handle, that his dad has to like go and fix it? Like, and what type of like format are they going to do now that it's 10 years later with
Yeah.
the new stuff they do and the new like technology they have for these types of movies and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just happy to be able to see it in the movie theater like we used to watch it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And like have that experience again, because I stopped watching horror movies, but we'll get to it. But I'm just really curious to what direction they go to. Like, is he gonna be like, Dad, I've been having all these experiences, like they're getting too big, I need help, we need to go like nip this in the bud.
Yeah, I mean, based on what I had seen from the trailer and kind of from some other content creators and stuff like that, it seems like the basic premise of the film is it's 10 years later, obviously, like we said, and Patrick Wilson, a.k.a. Josh, is driving Dalton to college because they haven't really bonded. They kind of play on the whole once, kids grow up and are going to college and become teenagers, they don't really want to be affiliated with their parents, right? They want to go with their friends and do whatever, they're revolting or whatever. Just figure out their own lives. Okay. And what happens is Patrick Wilson, his character starts losing his memory, basically. He starts forgetting things, and he starts doing memory tests and all this stuff. And while his son is at college, his son starts remembering things through his drawings, and then instead of wanting to forget, he wants to explore that rabbit hole. Right. And then sure enough, because he's exploring that, they both get dragged back into this whole demonic possession world, aka the Red Door, which if you've seen the first two films, is very iconic in itself. So that's basically how everything kind of starts again from what I've seen. Yeah. Which is not much. It's just a very basic.
I'm interested if we get a why. I know this is supposed to wrap up their arc.
Yeah.
I would want to know why. You know?
Hopefully we do get
it would be cool to see, if they find out why they were the chosen ones that this demon was fucking with for, seemingly all for of his Josh's
whole
life.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll connect more dots, and I wonder when they make movies like this with different franchises, do they start with one and then work backwards, or do they have a major storyline that they go, okay, well, if this does well, then we'll walk it back? You know what I'm saying?
If I were to guess, being that Lee Wannell and James Wan are right? Those are the guys that are in this?
Yeah, I mean, those guys have pretty much have been helming so many different horror films and stuff throughout the years that they're pretty much synonymous with horror at this point.
If I were to guess, they have, when they wrote the first movie, they had 2, 3, potentially 4 movies in mind.
Well, but how do you know it's going to do well enough that you're going to make the other one?
I looked up the budget for the budget for the first movie was only $1.5 million, and they made a lot more than that.
Yeah, they made hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Their budget basically was just double-digit millions, and they made triple-digit millions on all the films.
And was Insidious before The Conjuring, or Conjuring before Insidious?
was before The Conjuring.
Okay.
Maybe by even a year. I want to say Insidious came out in 2010, and The Conjuring came out in 2011.
It's been 13 years.
Insidious was actually it says, I think 2010 was some festival. 2010 it released at the Toronto Film Festival, and it looks like it had theatrical release April of 2011. $1.5 million budget, it made $100 million.
Okay.
And like you said earlier, horror movies, especially the way these are shot, you don't necessarily need a giant budget. But clearly, they only had a $1.5 million budget because they weren't sure if it was going to be anything.
And Patrick Wilson is the only movies he does seem to be in that genre.
Yeah. Well, he got stuck.
The Conjuring.
He got stuck in the
2 franchises.
In the tall trees or whatever.
In the tall grass.
In the tall grass. He's stuck there, so he can only do horror films.
He seems to be selective.
That's a reference to the movie In the Tall Grass on Netflix. Go check it out if you have any interest.
If you want to just burn 2 hours for no reason,
but he
check it out.
seems to be selective on the type of movies he does, because I don't think I've ever seen him in other movies. I've never looked into it.
After doing Insidious and The Conjuring, right, and having the success that they had, I mean, it's hard to not want to continue down that rabbit hole. And
he was in A-Team. When they remade A-Team,
right?
he was He was Agent Lynch, and his character was a dick.
Yeah, that seems right.
But for Patrick Wilson's pretty good at playing those dickhead characters outside of his horror movies. But I
Yeah.
feel like in his horror movies, he's always
He's
Like
a good
nice
guy.
a wholesome guy, other
Yeah.
than when he's stuck in the tall grass.
Spoilers.
I know, and because he's in the two different franchises, I always mix the two up in my
yeah.
head.
Ditto.
But I like Patrick Wilson.
He's
I
great.
like-
I
Like
love
when
him
you
too.
guys
A lot.
were talking about, let's go see Insidious. It's like, I haven't seen Vera Farmiga in a movie in a long time.
He was
Yeah.
also.
I still won't.
He was also the villain in Aquaman, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah.
He was in Aquaman.
Yeah,
Wow.
I did not know that because I actually have not seen Aquaman, but I have
I was not
an
in a rush
informant
to
that
see
just
it.
told me about that.
An
Oh,
informant.
thanks for the text, Omar. We appreciate it.
We got Omar behind the scenes working for us right now.
We're going to be bringing Omar in.
He's
a-
actually
in our next
our
segment.
he's our production assistant. We
sleeping.
He's just
he
chilling.
probably is.
We're going to bring
There
him
you
in.
go.
But yeah, so like we watched probably the first two films maybe a month and a half
Yes.
ago at this point, so it's not exactly like super fresh in our minds.
Yeah.
But I do remember there was one like demonic spirit or something like that had long hair, almost like Ty Simpkins' character does now. And we were thinking at the time, because we had seen the trailer for Insidious 5, and we were like, man, wouldn't it be crazy if for some reason like that was Dalton
Yes.
and he was
Yeah.
like, trying to warn them, in those movies. I caught it, guys, don't worry. About what was happening, because I believe in the second one wasn't the ghost that you see in the beginning or the film or the
Them.
the demon or whatever. It was them, or
Yes.
it was Josh, right?
Yeah.
in a past, yeah.
Yeah, in
it
the
was-
Yeah,
past.
trying
That's
to
what-
let them know, like, hey,
Yeah,
I'm
like,
here.
That's
Yeah.
what seemed to happen throughout some of the movies, a couple of the movies, where it's like you like the banging on the door or the baby crying or
Oh, right,
the
the
woman
banging on
that
the
was
door, yeah.
running away. Like that was just them
Yeah, that was them.
in the future.
You know what that
trying
reminds
to
me of?
Protect them in the past.
What?
The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, yeah, kind of, right? Seem
Like a similar thing there, right?
Yeah, that's a great show if you haven't seen. That's kind of, some of the hauntings of that are reminiscent of
Well,
Insidious.
If you guys are wondering about the best horror movies according to Cory,
What a segue.
he's gonna
That's
he's
a-
gonna tell you guys.
A plus.
He's gonna let you
segue.
guys know the best, not so popular movies in the horror genre that are his favorite. His favorite video horror games, quickly, and what was the other one? Shows. that
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
watching.
I'm just
Just
gonna
touch
really,
on 'em.
I'm gonna plug one show specifically, which
he really
you already
wants people
know,
to
but-
watch it with him.
Yeah, because I feel like it's relatively unknown, and I would like to keep watching
wants to
it.
talk
I
about
want
it.
viewers so that they keep renewing it, even though they did just get renewed for a third season. But let's start with the horror movies, I guess.
Yes,
right?
Cory.
That's-
So,
that
what are
seems
your
right.
top, or what is your number one horror movie that you feel like is not getting the credit it deserves at this point in time?
At this point in time? Wow. So, if you watched our second episode, which was more like an introductory episode than our first one, because we really just wanted to get our feet wet in that first one. I said, when I was ranting nervously about the things that I liked and talking about myself and my
Panic
panicking, I said that my favorite horror movie of all time was The Thing, John Carpenter's rendition of The Thing from 1982, which I tried a long, long, long time ago to get you guys to watch with me.
Yeah.
And this was at like Kathy's house.
Yeah,
And it was
I
probably
remember.
not the right setting, because the first 30 minutes of the movie are really just like meeting the characters and like setting things up. So by the time, everything started going, we were all just like, everybody was just kind of like,
Talking.
talking. And we were like, we want to do something else. You're like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are we watching this?
Yeah.
That's because we didn't get to like the really fucked up scene that happens like literally right after that. Probably like one of the most horrifying scenes in movie history, especially if you like dogs. Like people who like dogs will never, ever, 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 ever want to watch that scene. And it breaks my heart every time, but I watch it because it's just so good. Like it's a movie where it's predominantly all practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
So everything looks very realistic. Everything is made from like animatronics and just all these like special effects that are just, you know, like melted bubble gum and stuff like that. Obviously, like, you know, blood, fake blood, however they make that, you know, all this crazy stuff, and it just looks so realistic. And it was made back in 1982, and at the time it didn't get the credit that was due for it because E.T. came out.
Oh.
It was a summer movie, and it was like this horrifying, grotesque film, you know, so like people just really didn't like it. But all these years later, you know, horror fans, like true deep-rooted horror fans, watch it, and it's some of their favorite movies of all time because of how realistic and practical the effects are.
Yeah.
The story is, you know, it's compelling. It's basically a survival horror film where this alien life form perfectly replicates the people and animals and anything that it gets its hands on in this outpost in Antarctica. Omar's smiling back there. He's just like, oh boy, Cory's going off right now on this. And that's what happens at the beginning of the film. You know, a dog comes into the compound, and everybody's like, what's going on? These Norwegian people are chasing it in a helicopter trying to murder it. So they murder the Norwegians, and they're just like, yeah, okay, we saved this dog. Great. The dog's not a dog. Shit's going to happen, right? All these crazy, horrifying, nightmare-fuel-driven things happen. And the whole premise of the movie basically is nobody knows who's themselves and who's a thing because it's a perfect imitation.
Okay.
So it becomes this survival horror movie out in the middle of nowhere where there's no way to communicate with anybody. Everybody's paranoid. And it does just a great job of making you wonder the whole movie, like,
yeah, like who
is a thing?
Yeah.
When did they become the thing? And like, what's going to happen from here? You know, it's very ambiguous throughout the whole thing, and it's just some of the best stuff that I've seen. That's my number one by far that I would recommend checking out. Is it like Insidious at all? No. Not at all.
But it's classic horror.
But it's classic horror. It's a fantastic watch, and you know, for like those really die-hard horror fans, if you haven't seen it, most people probably honestly know what it is if you're like really into horror. But if you're not, check it out. But just know that it is very gory going into it.
Now, what would you say is your top recommendation for a current like horror game?
Current horror game
that like not everybody's playing.
One of my favorites is The Evil Within.
Okay.
That's like one of my go-tos. It was from like I believe it was the creator of some of the older Resident Evil games. So it plays like some of the older survival horror Resident Evil games where the story is like, it's so insane. It's, you know, like you don't really find out like what's going on per se until like way later on. But the best way I could describe it is Resident Evil with I don't even know, like Matrix-esque qualities. You find out kind of like a little ways through the game. It's basically like you find out that the character is submerged in this other world completely in a bathtub, like you would do kind of like in the Matrix, where, you know, you make the phone call, you're connected through like that like cable and in your you know, cerebellum or whatever. And, you know, it's just you're going through this crazy nightmarish world where resources are scarce, and you're a detective, and, you know, you find out things as you're going further and further throughout the levels. There's other people in there with you that, you know, were your partners and stuff like that. And, I mean, it's an intense experience, especially if you play on the harder difficulties. But it's just a fun survival horror experience for those Resident Evil fans, basically, that I think, you know, a lot of people underrate or haven't experienced.
Yeah, and it's good as a horror. Cory's like a true horror like guy. So
yeah, horror
if
everything
he
pretty much.
Thinks it's good, normally it is, because he's not just like a guy that likes like random like really popular stuff that comes out. Like he has a critique about it if it's not good, because he knows what's good and what's not.
Yeah, there's
Giving
plenty
you a big
of
title there.
thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the faith
He knows
that you,
what's good and what's not.
Exactly.
Yeah,
His
in
name
the
is
horror
Cory.
genre
In the
specifically.
horror genre, yeah. But what about
What show?
what show you want everyone to watch along with
So
you?
the show that I was referencing earlier is a show called From. It's a show that
Having seen the first, 3 episodes?
I made them watch it when we were drunk. When I was drunk.
Because Cory wanted a party.
Cory wanted to
I wanted to
party. It
party.
was Grimace's birthday.
It
Grimace's
was
birthday.
Grimace's birthday.
It's
Having
his birthday
seen the
month.
first 3 episodes, very interesting.
So why is it that you like it, and where can you watch it?
Okay,
And
so
what's this like a light summary of it? I'm gonna be right back, but you tell them.
okay, so the basic premise of it, I would say, if people watched Lost and like Lost, you should watch the show because there are so many elements of Lost, especially like in the writing, in the characters, in the atmosphere of the show that just resonate that way, that the people who really liked Lost will love this show. This show is way more horror oriented as opposed to Lost, where it was kind of just more of like a suspense, like thriller, sci-fi. I mean, this one definitely has sci-fi elements, but it's like I said, it's predominantly more lean towards horror, and the fact that there are these monsters that just rip you apart and eat you and stuff like that. So the whole premise is this family drives in an RV into a place. They see a tree that changes their course in the middle of the road. They go into this town. They ask for directions or whatever. They ask for help. The town people are just kind of like, oh great. All right, when do we stop them? They have no idea what's going on, right? The people in the RV, they're like, well, we'll just be on our way, and keep going. They circle right back to where they were, and they keep circling back into the town. They're like, we went a different way. How did we get here? Basically,
If you haven't figured it out.
Yeah, right? Like, they always end up in the town no matter what because they're caught in this endless loop. Basically, once you pass this certain point, you are stuck there forever. And the people in the town have to figure out a way to ease these people into letting them know and to stop, because they'll just obviously keep going forever, that you're trapped in this world where there's these monsters that come out at night, and if you're outside, they will absolutely rip you to shreds and eat you, right? Which is insane.
And they throw, I guess, little spoiler, they throw, spike strips to stop their RV?
Yeah, I mean, that's the easy way of getting them to eventually stop driving, because they want to keep them safe and bring them in to the houses, which you find out, that there's this little totem that kind of keeps them safe as long as you have it hanging in a concealed area, aka a house, like an RV and all this stuff. But you meet some fantastic characters. The writing is excellent, and honestly, that's kind of what Lost did so well, was you had a ton of characters that had great backstories that you could get lost in, and that was the pun. Pun was not intended on that one.
It was good, though.
Thank you. And that's basically what this is. You have the main character is Harold from Lost. That's not his real name, but yeah. Yeah.
Is that the sheriff?
Yeah, the sheriff was one of the main characters
Wow.
in the
You
first
mean-
couple of seasons of Lost.
You mean Pope from Sons of Anarchy?
Exactly, Pope from Sons of Anarchy.
Because that's where I know him
And
from.
he was
I
also
never
in
watched
Oz,
Lost.
even though I've never seen Oz. But yeah, he's the lead character. So again, if you really like Lost, and I mean, did I mention that it's some of the producers from Lost that made this show? So maybe that's why it's kind of like Lost. But yeah,
I would recommend it as well, based on the few episodes that I've seen.
10 episodes per season. There's 2 seasons so far. And
Where can you watch
Yes, where
them?
can we watch this?
So it was on Epix, but I believe Epix just became MGM Plus. Omar? That's correct.
We
Thank
have
you.
confirmation,
We have confirmation.
from the production assistant.
So I personally did it through Amazon because it was just easier to kind of just package everything together. So like that's where I that's where I was watching it.
Both seasons are on Amazon?
Both seasons. And Omar had texted me not that long ago that season 1 is actually on Amazon Prime now. So if you are a Prime member, you can watch from season 1 for free.
So we need to finish season 1 because I was very interested in the show.
Yes.
Cory really wants to talk about it with someone, so maybe
Yeah,
we should.
I love it. If you guys want to talk about it, I will absolutely.
The production assistant says check your phone.
Yeah, I know.
Well, thanks, Cory, for your top video, movie, and show.
Who is that, Omar? I don't know who that is.
Omar's sending a lot of text
He
messages.
was also in Romeo and Juliet movie. He was Mercutio.
Of course he was.
I was like, I don't remember. I think I did see that movie once, but I really don't remember it because it was so long ago.
He was Mercutio.
But yeah, please check that out. It's, like I said, 2 seasons, 10 episodes each, and they did just get renewed for a 3rd season, and there wasn't that much of a wait time to find out. So I was like super relieved because I was like, oh my God, if this show just ends on this giant cliffhanger, I'm going to kill myself.
Does when it airs, does it air on cable television or is it on a streaming service? You said MGM Plus?
So I would imagine MGM Network or something like that. I don't know, what channel that is. You'd have to check your cable provider, or it might just be on an app that you have to pay for exclusively.
He's saying yes.
He's saying yes.
All right.
Yeah.
We need a friend that pays for that.
But I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's a dope-ass show. I think it's super underrated, so there you go.
If you guys want to talk about it with Cory, drop some comments about your favorite moments from any of that, the movie, the video game, or the show, because Cory really wants to talk about it.
I do. I really do.
He's been really wishing that
I'd
some
like
of
to
us
phone
will
a friend,
watch
please.
it. Well, thanks, Cory, for your top horror.
Thanks for letting me go on that rant.
Yeah.
Of course. That's your element, so you should be able to go on. Yeah. Well,
Did we
have
ever
Omar.
hold on? Did we ever say what we thought was going to happen in the new Insidious?
We sure
we didn't. But I have no idea. So.
I mean, I kind of
My question to you, and this is my question for any story that's ending, is does any of the family die? Does Patrick Wilson sacrifice Josh? Does Josh sacrifice himself for the sake of his family?
Maybe.
It's possible.
Does
Dalton?
Well, the question, so the only reason I think it would be Patrick Wilson, it would be Josh if it happened,
because they're
right?
both haunted, right? Or
They're
plagued
both
or
haunted. So as a way of showing his son that he loves him,
Right,
he
because they're
takes
not
out the
bonding at the
demon while
moment.
taking out himself.
Yeah, sacrificing
as
himself.
like I love you, son.
No,
I'm
I
willing
hope
to do
not.
this for you.
That would be
want
I
that.
always
Yeah.
think someone has to die.
I
Always.
know you do.
Patrick Wilson.
Wilson.
Not him.
I mean, who else are you gonna? If you had to sacrifice somebody, like Elise is already
The
dead.
baby.
Like,
Jesus
she's like, God, that's so sad. She's like 5
Just
years
kidding.
old.
Because we don't know who the baby is. We have no connection to the baby.
I have no connection
I'm
to
just
this
kidding.
child.
I'm joking. It's a joke. Calm down.
Yeah,
Omar,
calm down.
Omar
Internet.
thinks you're serious.
Don't cancel us, internet.
So-
Cancel us. I love
don't-
babies.
I don't think anyone's gonna die.
You
I don't think
Happy ending
I
coming
don't-
up.
I don't think a main
I don't
character will die, but at the same time, like you said earlier, who the hell expected Elise to die in the first fucking movie?
Right? I mean, I'm sure she'll still be in it in the
She'll be-
further.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
she'll be
she'll
in
be
the
there.
further, and it looks
she's in like videotapes.
it looks like we're gonna get her in
Yes.
videotapes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. But who knows? Maybe
Who
we'll
knows?
see her in the further as well. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, if somebody was gonna die, it would definitely be Patrick Wilson's character.
Agreed.
no.
But I also
Sacrifice.
I feel like they'll continue with Dalton. Like we'll get other movies with Dalton.
Maybe down the line. I don't know what the spinoff is going to be about exactly, but we shall see.
If Patrick
Oh, that's the
Wilson's not in
thread
it, I don't
Yeah.
want
and
to.
Insidious
So-
Tale, right?
Yeah, the one that they said that Mandy Moore is attached to. I
Mandy
believe.
Moore.
I mean,
What is she doing?
I don't know.
Acting.
She's a pretty good actress, I would have to say. But when has she had time to make this movie? She just had a second kid.
I don't know.
She's a busy lady.
Apparently.
I imagine parents of
busy.
2 children are busy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks a lot, Cory, for sharing your moments.
Thanks.
Your
I
movies and moments. with
You're
the
welcome.
podcast.
Thank you for letting me go on the rant, as I said before.
So
we're gonna have Omar come in and talk about some ghouls and ghosts, superstitions, and
we're almost hitting
feelings.
an hour here.
It's okay.
Okay. I was gonna say,
Just taking over your podcast.
did you wanna?
What?
Can't take you anywhere.
Sorry.
Did we want to talk about why we don't go to the movie theaters that much anymore? I mean, that was something we were thinking.
Or why you
about.
don't watch horror films,
Or
Kim.
why you
Well,
don't watch
I would
horror
need
films since you're
Omar.
taking over.
I would need Omar in that segment to explain why. Because
So
it kind of
who-
ties back into
Do you
what
want
Omar
Do you want
feels.
me to step out so Omar can sit in? I mean, you did just take over the podcast.
She did.
Well, I'll leave. if you wanna.
She's the natural.
it's
I mean, if
okay.
anything, I feel like I should bow out because I love horror.
No, we're gonna have Omar on to tell us some superstitions from Puerto Rico about ghouls and ghosts and spirits. He's shaking his head right now. And I'm
like,
gonna
"No,
explain why
No, Kenzie.
I don't watch horror movies anymore. I used to be a big ghost hunters, tabs, watch all that kind of stuff. I used to love it, and now I don't. So stay tuned. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna get Omar in
And
and
cut!